the main difference between an acoustic nylon string classical guitar and your average steel string acoustic guitar are, more importantly, the headstocks, the strings that you would see on the guitars themselves, the shapes of the guitars, if you look closely, and the bridge pins. On an acoustic steel string guitar, you would see that after all the strings, you would see all these cool bridge pins. These bridge pins lock the strings in place inside of the bridge, inside of the guitar. So inside of the guitar, the bridge pins are sticking inside. Whereas on a classical guitar, on the bridge here, you would see that the strings are tied off and then cut. At the headstock, you would see the most difference because it has a different design, and you'd see that the strings are strung through a hole somewhere.
Yeah.
This string has a hole in. This string is tied. The string is tied to a hole, like right inside here. It's just covered up by the string itself. Another key factor about the strings are the sound. When you play an E chord or any other chord on a classical guitar, you would hear something more classical, like a mariachi band, like you would see in like fiestas and stuff. Like it sounds more grand and more open. Like it sounds very mariachi, and that's what would come up in your head. Whereas a modern day steel string acoustic guitar would have that more modern tone, like more serenading tone than a regular classical guitar. So if I was to play a different piece, you would notice the similarities. Like if I just play a little bit of Sweet Home Alabama, you would know. So there it is on the steel string. On the classical, sounds really different. Another main difference about acoustic steel strings and acoustic classical guitars are the headstocks. You would see that on this headstock and the tuning pegs that the design is way more different than the acoustic steel string. These pegs are at the side, and these are all silver, and all the strings are tied off on the headstock, whereas on the classical guitar the strings are more towards the bottom, and the strings are strung through the headstock. Like these ones, like the ones on the acoustic steel string, I mean. The strings are strung through these little tuning pegs, or tuning keys. These tuning keys have the strings strung through, tied off, and then strung a little more to tune. Another type of steel string acoustic guitar, more importantly, is the 12-string. The 12-string guitar is one that you would see in concerts and gigs. Well, you would also see 6 strings in concerts and gigs. But 12-string guitars make the strings sound more open. Like as I played before in one of the previous sections, the 6-string guitar didn't sound as open. Whereas if you play one of these things, if you look closely, you can see that there is an extra string on each string. So it would be tuned to E, E, A. This one doesn't have another A string. D, D, G, G, B, B, E, E. So each string is tuned, every string is tuned to a higher octave. So this thick E string has another string, which is also an E, it's just tuned at a higher octave. And if you look closely, these tuning keys look just like the ones on the 6-string guitar, except that these ones, this kind of headstock has 12 pegs, which is meant for 12 strings.